is the Jason Walker Show. Two-time National Sports Media Association Montana Sportscaster of the Year, and three-time loser, the Jason Walker Show. The best local and statewide sports coverage, featuring the biggest guests from Montana.
Clint Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show.
He's freaking exhausting, too. You used to dance a lot more. Yeah, I know, lady. I'm 51 years old now.
The NAI Hall of Famer Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And is it just a deal where quarterbacks have to be good golfers?
Well, that's all they have time for. They don't work out. They don't lift weights. They don't do anything else. They might as well go get on the golf course and at least have some fun.
And from across the country,
Doug Gottlieb, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show.
End of the day, remember, it's your show. It's got your name on it.
Howie Mandel, our guest here.
Jason Walker, deal or no deal?
the Jason Walker Show, presented by Helena Accommodations, the in-town 5-star extended stay residences. Visit HelenaAccommodations.com. Broadcasting from the Major Mortgage Man Cave, here's Jason Walker.
Helps if you turn the microphone on. I'm nervous. Happy Tuesday! It is the Jason Walker Show here inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave. Big show coming up today. Can't wait for you to get to listen to it. I just can't wait to get to it. We got On This Day in History coming up, a smaller version of it actually, and we'll tell you what's coming up tomorrow a little bit later on as well. There was some other news that we'll get to throughout the course of the hour. We got some surprises coming up, but we got an update on Jesse Davis, which is awesome. It's great news. And National Player of the Year for basketball coming out of National Player of the Week, rather, coming out of the University of Providence. We'll hit on here in a little bit. But it is a joy, it is a pleasure, it is an honor to welcome in, possibly, I think, maybe for the final time, at least in person, but the Hall of Famer Mike Van Diest joins us here on the Jason Walker Show. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing good, Jason. Thanks for having me out. Yeah, next time if I come on, I'm going to charge you. This is my last. This is my last pro bono one. Okay.
Okay. Thanks. I appreciate that, Mike Van Diest here, the NAI Carroll College Hall of Famer. Are you in any other Hall of Fames?
Montana Sports Hall of Fame. That was the first one. The Helena
one.
Not the Montana. The Helena Sports Hall of Fame in 2011.
So you got to be going into the Montana one soon.
No, that's all pro guys. I'm not a pro guy. I don't. That's all.
I don't know. Tyler Emmerich got put in, nominated yesterday or elected.
Well, he should. He's.
Are you surprised it took that long?
Yeah, I just think people forget about what Tyler did and what he accomplished, and between him and Dave Dickinson, there's not too many better quarterbacks out of the same region that have accomplished what they accomplished as football players in the national championships that they've won. But I think Tyler, at some time, especially at a small college level outside of this region, you kind of forget about that. But I certainly don't. I remember everything he did.
He lost 3 games his entire, from freshman year to senior year, from high school to college.
He didn't lose any games in high school. He lost them all when I got a hold of them.
There you go. Mike Van Diest joining us here on the Jason Walker Show, the show presented by Helena Accommodations, the in-town 5-star extended stay residences. Visit HelenaAccommodations.com. All right, so the news came out yesterday. A few people have known about this for a while, but you said this a year plus ago in your press conference, when you retired and you said, I'm not done coaching yet. And you're not. You're heading out to coach linebackers at the University of Mary.
Yeah, it wasn't, a situation where I knew I wasn't going to hang it up. It was just if an opportunity came along. And as I said that time, I retired for the right reasons. I wasn't burned out. My health was good. There's always speculation and rumors. But the thing was, it was time to step aside at Carroll and enjoy Clay's senior year of hockey at St. Norbert's. I wanted to be a fan and tailgate with all the other parents back in Green Bay, and then with the granddaughter getting down to St. Louis and seeing Shane and his wife Mara. So the timing was great, and this fall I was able to go down to Wyoming against the Missouri game and Labor Day, and we had a mini reunion with about 30 plus of my teammates from the University of Wyoming. So I had a good time this year. It was a great tour.
Nice and relaxing.
It was fun. Yeah, I sat in the stands at all the Carroll home games, and I didn't have to worry about 4th down calls. I think walking out in the tailgate areas was the most receptive I've ever been by the Frontier Conference officials. They all patted me on the back and said how good it was to see me.
That is awesome. Mike Van Diest joining us here in the Major Mortgage Man Cave. You and I talked back in September before your introduction into the Carroll Hall of Fame. and it was actually the last week that I did the old show. But this is cool because that week for Hall of Fame weekend and that Saturday night, and we haven't talked about it since then, but that was one of the most impressive and emotional nights I've been a part of.
It was big time. I wish there's some things I would have reflected back on, and if I had another couple of hours to spend that evening, there's a lot of stories I'd like to tell, but at the same time, having 170 plus football players and another 220 parents and boosters and family and friends come was very special, and to do it with homecoming and everything going on. Shane received a great award on Friday as a Young Alumni Award, so it was great for him and his family to recognize. Clay came back, and he was the one that introduced me for the Hall of Fame breakfast, and I just had a great time. It was one of those things we enjoyed it. Everybody got a chance to hug and tell stories and just reminisce, and it was great for 20 years of players being able to kind of reconnect and cross-connect, because sometimes when a Hall of Fame team gets put in, it's those 4 or 5 years.
Right.
But this was across the board. So the players from the early 2000s got to meet the players from 16, 17, 18. They got to know each other. They heard stories. Sean Bloomquist and those guys said, well, we heard stories about Joe Horn. Now we get to listen to him. So it was pretty cool.
And that was a great speech from Joe Horn. But what was more impressive to me, and the reason I stuck around the whole night, I told the wife, I said, I'm not staying the whole night. I'm just going to go say hi and stay for like an hour. But I wanted to hear Mrs. Van Diest's speech, and it was awesome. She was so amazing.
Oh, she knocked it out of the park, and I knew she was going to do it because I know Michael McMahon had talked to her about doing it, but at the same time, she never gave any indication what she was going to talk about. She had in her mind things that she wanted to discuss and go over, and I know she was a little bit nervous, but it was pretty cool for her because she had her sister and brother-in-law, Wendy and Rob, were there. Her brother Eric and his wife Kate were there. So it was neat for her family to be able to be there and enjoy and celebrate the night too.
Did you ever count up how many total players you've coached in 20 years?
No, I haven't. And I've got a list of all the players year after year. I've got who the freshman recruits are and transfers every year. Then I got a list of the returning players. I should go back and add them up. It's a lot.
I'm sure.
There's quite a few, and but it's just amazing when you go back through it. And every summer, as you know, we get the chance to go to players' weddings.
Yep.
We've been to a couple of baptisms. We get announcements all the time, and it's hard to believe that 20 years went by this fast, and it's an amazing ride.
So you're leaving next week to head on out to Bismarck, and I was looking at the stadium. Wow. It's a community stadium, but it seats about 6,000. It's got a video board and the track on the outside. You a fan of the track around the field? Because the fans are a little bit further away now.
Yeah, we played out there. We played out there twice. In fact, they really embarrassed us in 1999. It was our last game it was our last game of the season, 1999, and all we had to do, I had to take an inventory on the bus on the way home, and when I got back, hey, this is what we need to do to get better, because they were kind of the king of this part of the country, along with Rocky at that time, of NAIA football.
Wow. Yeah, and I know you played them twice. Are you going to be okay wearing the blue and orange?
Well, it's going to be great. I think Heidi's excited because my whole wardrobe is brown and gold from Wyoming, and it's purple from Northwestern and Carroll College, and now I get to have a little bit different color scheme. So, it's kind of like the Broncos of Denver and Boise State, Syracuse, the University of Florida. So it'll be kind of cool to have a few different colors in my closet.
So the athletic director, Dale Lennon, out there, you guys are both finalists for that Montana State job back in 2007. So he's obviously had himself a very nice career as well. You stay in touch, and I was talking to Craig Bagnell, your new boss, yesterday, the head coach at Mary, and he said it's such a small world, the coaching fraternity.
Well, and Dale's a guy that I'd met years and years ago. They were national champs the year before we were in 2001 at the University of North Dakota. He's a big 3-4 coach as a defensive coordinator and a head coach, and I've always liked their scheme, and he and I have gotten together at times in Helena, and then whenever Clay and Shane were playing hockey in Grand Forks, I'd call up and ask if I could stop by, and we'd get up on the board and talk football and put on 3-4 clinics and just had a wonderful time. And I've always kept in touch with him. And ironically, over the years, what I didn't know, my mom's from North Dakota. She lived in Rugby. That's where Dale grew up, was in Rugby, North Dakota. Obviously, they didn't know each other with the age difference, but it is a small world. And that was one of the main reasons the University of Mary's football program is so attractive because of Dale Lennon as the athletic director.
Yeah, he's had himself a very, very nice career, and they've got themselves a good program out there. Coach Bagnell now entering his third year.
Third year.
Would you call him the Polson Pistol?
I don't know where that quote came from. That was from Brian Larson, their SID. He put that in the paper. So I kind of put question marks on that last night when I text Craig and said, I have no idea. It's a good one. The only pistol I ever knew was Pistol Pete Maravich,
right? Yeah.
But so we got a kick out of that.
I asked Coach Bagnell this, and I want to ask you, 20 years being the head guy, and I know you were an assistant for a long time before that. Are you going to be able to take direction now?
I'm going to have to. He's my boss, Yeah, I'm the oldest GA in the country right now, so I've got to take a step back. There'll be I'm sure there'll be some times I want to, say something, but I've got to be a little bit kind of tempered a little, saying things. But when I've interviewed with him and talked to him, he said, one of the things I want to do, Coach, is to sit down with you every day and talk about practice plans, talk about organization, talk about not so much offense and defensive schemes, but talk about personnel and get my insight. And I want to learn from him too. Coaching for me is still about learning. I don't have all the answers. I'm not the savior going out there. I want to contribute to the defense. I know I've met both defensive coordinators. I've been watching film for the last couple months about that, and there's some ideas and things I want to suggest and some things I might be a little bit stubborn about, but at the same time, I just want to be able to go out and help that program and get back on the field with the players.
This is going to be cool because now you don't have to worry about the day-to-day operation of a football team. You get to just run the linebackers and answer to a couple of different guys. It's got to be refreshing a little bit.
Oh, it's going to be great. I coached the outside backers. I got two players. I remember when I took Heidi to a CFL game up in the British Columbia, when they were playing, and that dome was the first dome. It happened to be on our honeymoon. It was I was pretty romantic, but, we're sitting there, and I was coaching defensive line at the time at the University of Montana, and she was just out of her mind that I only coached 3 guys and spend 80 hours a week coaching 3 guys. Well, now I get to coach 2, so it's like, okay, this will be fun, but yeah, it'll be great. I don't have to worry about budget. I don't have to worry about travel, scholarship numbers, things like that. I can just coach football and really get in there and grind with the defensive coaches and the players, and I'm looking forward to that. Yeah,
it'll be a lot of fun for you, definitely. I did want to ask this, too, because you and I have talked over the last few years about all the football teams that are in the state of Montana. Well, there's some pretty good football teams in North Dakota as well, and now you got to go recruit against the likes of North Dakota State and North Dakota.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be recruiting against North Dakota State, and I don't have to recruit. I'm just
well,
a
there
coach.
You go.
I'm not labeled a full-time coach, so I'll certainly watch film and make evaluations, but I'm not going to be on the road recruiting, which is kind of a good gig.
Yep.
I'm not going to be working summer camps. It's like I'm just going to coach football. This is pretty good, but at the same time, there's a lot of good football. Because North Dakota State, everybody knows about them. University of North Dakota made the playoffs this year. They've done a good job up there, and I think that's one of the things you look at. And there's a great rivalry between Minot and and University of Mary, so that's going to be interesting to see. But they did a good job this year. I think they signed 9 players. They signed 45 players in this class.
Yeah,
9 players from the state of North Dakota. They went to Minnesota. I think 9 players out of Arizona. 4 players on Nevada, California. They went to Utah and Idaho and got a grid player on each of those states. So, and 3 players out of Montana. So they're kind of getting a little bit more regional.
Mike Van Diest joining us here. We're going to take a break in a minute, but I got to ask you this. Now I forgot my question. It had to do, Mary, it's got a lot more sports. You get to have, you've got hockey, you've got baseball, you've got a ton of different things going on out there in Bismarck.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. They got a really good wrestling program. Baseball is big. I don't know why guys would go to North Dakota to play baseball, but they've got about 5 or 6 Montana kids. And one of the players, I'm disappointed that's not there anymore. And I talked to him yesterday. It was Patrick O'Connell from Flathead.
Oh, okay.
He went out there on a baseball and football scholarship 2 years ago, and we couldn't recruit him. Rocky was trying to recruit him, but he wanted to play baseball. He was a great baseball player. And the staffs in baseball and football both got let go that year, so he transferred to the University of Montana. He's a great player over there. And he said, Coach, you're 2 years too late. I said, I know. Gosh, Patrick, if I know that's all it took, I would have left. But, it's good. And with hockey, I'm looking forward to that. I met their hockey coach a year ago, and them in Providence will be going to nationals. They've had a great rivalry here in the last year. So there'll be a lot of things that you can do in this time of year and going into the spring.
Are you going to be on the sidelines or in the booth?
It sounds like right now I'm going to be on the sidelines. The inside linebacker coach, Ben Davis, who's also the co-coordinator on defense, wants to be up in the booth. He's coaching the Mike and the Will Backer inside. I've got what they call the stud and the buck, which is like our Sam and Bandit, to be on the sideline and work with them and help out the defensive line, too, with some of the things that they do.
And you get to it's just awesome for you because it's so much less stress, I think. You'll still be patrolling up and down and walking. I got to ask you this, too. When you were the head coach, and I'd see you on the field before games, an hour before, just out by yourself, what song were you singing in your head? I'd like to think it was Celine Dion, but...
No, I'm talking to myself a lot. I don't know that I was singing songs. I get razzed a lot about my lips moving, my hands moving, and I'm the only one out there. But I'm just going over the game plan and going over things and going over the calls and just trying to repeat a lot of things. And it's they got the music playing, so sometimes there'll be a song that's on the playlist that the players have playing in the coming out of the press box pregame, and I'll be singing that. But most of the time, I'd like to get away by myself. I don't like a lot of distractions. I was like that as a player. I don't want a lot of, things coming up, people coming up and talking this and that. I just want to kind of get my mind clear, and I have my game sheet out there, my play calling sheet, and just kind of go over that to make sure I got just a review.
I swear you were singing Celine Dion, just the way you were dancing.
I can't even spell Celine.
The head coach, Mike Van Diest, joining us here, Jason Walker Show. We're going to take a quick break. We got a surprise for Coach when we come back. And we'll have more next here on The Jason Walker Show.
More of The Jason Walker Show coming up.
Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show. Spring is fast approaching and summer is just around the corner, so now is the time to get those windows tinted at Auto Concepts as the sun starts to heat up. Tinting is the best way to keep the sun out of your little one's eyes driving down the road. Plus, it just looks cool. Auto Concepts is your exclusive 3M dealer for tinting, as well as the best clear bras in town. Auto Concepts clear bras will not fade or yellow over time. And don't forget about suspension lifts and power steps for your rig too. Visit AutoConceptsHelena.com or check them out on Facebook. Auto Concepts, the auto enhancement professionals. Everyone knows about Dinners Done Right and the convenience of the cook and carry cuisines. It's so easy to just stop by and you have something for dinner that night. But there's also one more thing you need to know about. Dinners Done Right Grab and Go Salad Bar. Yes, I said salad bar. Always the freshest ingredients, along with a daily soup and nacho bar too. So the next time you are in a rush or you just want to eat healthy, stop by Dinners Done Right for the soup, salad, and nacho bar. For monthly menus and more info, it's dinnersdoneright.com.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show. Welcome back, Jason Walker Show. Here inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave.
Coach Mike Van Diest joining us here in the Man Cave today, and is courtesy of the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. And every team knows the two-point play can be a winning move. That's why State Farm agent Mike Miller and his team are here to help you go for two by combining your home and auto insurance. It's a great call that saves you time and money, so go for the win, score savings, combine your home and auto. Just another way we're here to help life go right. Call State Farm agent Mike Miller today in Helena. Mike Van Diest joining us. What was Mike Miller like as a player?
He was a lot of fun. He had a little pizzazz about him, coming from Anaconda. Played defensive back, played safety for us, and I remember especially that he contributed a lot of special teams, was in the rotation as a safety, but over in Southern Oregon in 2000, I believe it was 2001, we played them in the playoffs in a snowstorm over there, and he had to play almost the whole game.
Oh, wow.
Because of some injuries and some things that took place, and they had a great game over there, and we came out with the win on the road, and that was impressive, and he did a great job. But he was a great teammate, a lot of fun. He always kept things lively. I mean, he just never had a bad day, and it's great seeing him be successful, he and John, doing what they're doing with State Farm.
Before I bring you a surprise, I got to ask you, you mentioned the Eastern and Southern Oregon, but Justin Udy, who was at Texas Tech, was a quarterback. Well, I guess he was a wide receiver more at Eastern Oregon.
Eastern Oregon, right.
That's a good hire for Coach Choate.
Oh, I think Coach Choate, the one thing about him, when you look at his background and his DNA, where he's been at Florida, University of Washington, and around the country, he's got a lot of contacts, and I think people think the world of him.
Yep.
He's a terrific coach. He was a great defensive coach, linebacker coach, D-line coach, great special teams. I've heard him a couple of times on clinics. I was going through some notes I'm taking with me to Mary that and I got a DVD tape of tackling drills that he put together. So I think that was great. And coming from Texas Tech and their offensive prowess, I think that's a great hire and a young guy that wants to get back up here in this part of the country.
All right. Have you done your studying? Because you have to take an entrance exam, basically.
I don't do that anymore. I'm.
Well, you don't have to recruit, so you don't have to.
I didn't take one when I went to Wyoming, so I shouldn't have to take one now, do I?
No, I don't know. Coach Bagnell said you had to take some sort of test. I got a surprise for you, Coach. I want to bring him in on the phone now, but one of the all-time great linebackers at Carroll College, we want to welcome in Sean Bloomquist. Bloomy, how you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me.
What, did you just get off the golf course or what?
You know we don't golf in February, Coach.
You were one of the all-time greats, like I mentioned at Carroll, as Sean Bloomquist, and now becoming a very successful young man in your own right. Coach is moving, and did you ever anticipate this day?
I actually did, and I'd be lying to you if I told you I didn't. I've been talking to Coach, I think, I'm fortunate enough to continue that relationship since I left Carroll College, and you can't keep a great mind out of football and can't keep someone that loves football that much away from it for that long.
He's sitting here, and I don't think he knew that, so you're like the third son, but sometimes you claim to be the second son. I don't know explain to me how this works.
Well,
I think Clay and I fight over it.
Yeah, him and Clay, just who's ever in town, they still got their own room over. But no, Sean is he's a part of the family, a lot beyond playing football. Number 43.
Yeah,
Bloomy, favorite memory of Coach Van Diest?
God, there's way too many of them.
One that we can share and don't have to bleep out.
I think my favorite one that sticks out to me is the day that he got me to commit. He'd been a vigilante so many times watching me do, track and football. And, he basically told me he wanted me, more than the other schools. And I was like, of course, it kind of just sunk in at the time. I was like, he's been at everything. Of course he does. So, I was very fortunate to go to Carroll College.
Before I let Coach answer that, I think my favorite memory of you and Coach interacting together was 2014 at Northern on was it Halloween? Second quarter, and the entire first-string defense got benched.
I know what you're talking about.
You guys responded quite well, though. You obviously have some great memories of Sean, Coach.
I think every game he played. It was one of those things when he came in, we were going to redshirt him, and it got to the point he was an inside linebacker all the years at Helena High, was the defensive MVP of the state, and he just played. I mean, he played so hard and he played so fast. He just had a great deal. And I always said, if I was still at the University of Wyoming with Joe Tiller, we would have recruited Sean Bloomquist to Wyoming. There's no doubt in my mind. And if I was at Big Sky School, but we were blessed to get Sean. But I just remember after a couple games, we were doing okay on defense that year. But I said, you know what, we got to get better in 2011. And I moved him to the outside backer, the bandit position. And, the first game against Tech, he gets a sack. Against Western, he gets a sack. Rocky, he pressured the quarterback. And it was a position that was a little bit unfamiliar for him because when he came in, all of the notes he was doing, even though he's going to be redshirted, was all about the inside backer spot, especially the Will Backer. And the outside backer, there's some similarities, but it was a guy that we just had to have coming off the edge or coming in the B gap, and he played it to he played Bandit 1 year, he played Will for 2 years, played Mike for a year. It didn't make any difference when we played him, and Nick Howard had him on offense. I think he scored 5 touchdowns.
I was going to bring that up.
On offense, out of the fullback spot. And he was he's one of the greatest football players I've ever had a chance to coach in 43 years.
Bloomy, I gotta know this. What was the bigger hug, when you made a sack to end a drive and came off the field, or when you scored a touchdown? How did he hug you the most?
The bigger hugs come from the defensive side. You know that.
Yeah, the offense. Everybody scores touchdowns. Wide receivers score touchdowns. Come on, that's no big deal. But you got to be special to get a sack or a tackle for a loss or run down somebody down on the other side of the field.
That's fantastic. Obviously, it blew me a lot about family, the tradition. You obviously have taken that into your life as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a better tradition. I think I tell everyone I meet, I think there's always that what if you went to a bigger school, but I think what coach has always said is like the big times where you're at, and that goes in all aspects, from an academic to where you're at spiritually in your faith, where you're at in your academics. Carroll College is it, and that's super fortunate to be there.
If you had a piece of advice for the linebackers out at University of Mary, what would you tell them to expect from Coach Van Diest?
Take notes. You better take notes and bring chocolate chip cookies when you mess up.
I hope they hear that. We better replay that for Coach Bagnell tomorrow.
We'll let them get a copy of that. Bloomy, I know you're a busy guy. I appreciate you taking some time out to join us and talk about Coach a little bit.
Hey, thanks for having me. Love you, Coach.
Love you, Sean. Thanks for coming and coming on the air, and I'll keep in touch, okay?
Sounds great.
Be safe.
That is Sean Bloomquist. Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you soon, joining us here on the Jason Walker Show. He was one of the best. You had some great linebackers at Carroll.
Well, it started with Joe Horn. I mean, and luckily Coach Petrino recruited him. He was on the program and on the staff before, on the roster before I got here. But coaching Joe for 3 years, he was an All-American. He was a Defensive Player of the Year, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. And whether it was Corey Przinski, and then along comes Gary Cooper, and there's always guys that got it. But Owen Keppen was unbelievable, but Matt Gordon was a great player. And you look at Thomas Dolan, a 2-time Conference Player of the Year defensively, and then Sean Bloomquist. But there's a lot of guys like that. One of the guys I'm going to get a chance to reconnect with is Rick Young. Rick was a great outside backer for us, a transfer back down from Utah State and out of Post Falls, but he's going to graduate school at University of Mary.
Oh, cool.
And he'll be there through the end of May, or the end of summer. So I'm going to bring him out and working with those Buck linebackers on that weak side, because his pass rush was unbelievable. When you had Owen on the strong side at Mike Backer, and you put Rick at the inside or the outside backer into the boundary, it's like, where could those guys go? It was a great 1-2 punch, but no, we had, I think, 8 linebackers make Defensive Player of the Year. I think we had 10 or 12 of them make First Team All-American. Just great players. And yeah, Sean was one of the best I've ever coached at any level. And it's where you play. I wanted to make it when I came to Carroll College like the big time. It doesn't, NAI was just it was just our governing body. It didn't mean it was a level of football. Yep. I've always compared the NAIA and the Frontier Conference, especially to Division II, which I'm going to be coaching at now, because you give scholarships.
Yep.
And we didn't have a lot of Division II schools west of the Mississippi, so this is what we were doing.
No, it's fantastic. I want to know this, and I've always wondered this. Did you ever make any old Western jokes about Gary Cooper to Gary Cooper?
No, because I don't think those guys even knew who Gary Cooper was. They never.
But he's a hell of a guy.
They never saw the Lou Gehrig show or know the hell. They're just these guys were into different kinds of music and movies, and it was a whole different thing. But it was cool to have somebody named Gary Cooper, and I know all my buddies that I grew up with and played football at Wyoming. I always thought that was pretty cool.
Come on, because you have to have said, kickoff is at high noon. I mean, that never once came out.
No, I wasn't quick enough for something like that. On game day, I didn't have much of a sense of humor.
Oh, man, that is awesome. All right, this came up yesterday on Twitter. This group that I follow, it's like a talent place for sportscasters, and because I'm trying to get some talent. But the question was, coldest game you've ever called. And I think I go back to that 2014 quarterfinal game with Southern Oregon. It was so cold, I think 20 below with the wind chill, maybe even colder, and then almost 2 feet of snow on the ground. What was the coldest game in your 20 years at Carroll? Because it's going to get cold in Bismarck.
Bismarck, North Dakota in the playoffs when we played them out there.
Okay.
It was very cold. We played them the first round, then we had to turn around and go back out to North Dakota again to play Dickinson State the very next week. But that was brutal because the wind was blowing. It was just, there's been a lot of cold games, but that one in particular was very cold. Yeah, the playoff game against Southern Oregon was that way, but it didn't seem that way. I don't know. There was just something about the atmosphere that day and the way both teams were running up and down the field, tearing it up. There was a lot of excitement going on. But the game at U-Mary was cold that day. It was a playoff game, and it was one of those things that you get out there and there's not much. There's no place to hide. That stadium's wide open. The wind was blowing through it.
It's called the Bowl out there.
It's called the Bowl. Yeah, it's off campus. I know they're in the process with some of their plans down the road to get a stadium on campus, just like Carroll. But it's a good field. It's a turf field.
Yeah.
They've got a practice field on campus. There's an indoor golf facility that's right off I-94. We practiced on it in 2000. We went out and played Valley City. They put new turf in there, and it's a big bubble, so we could go out there and practice during spring football as well. Coach Bagnell said.
And you can practice hitting golf balls from the sounds of it.
Yeah, that's really one of my games.
Speaking of, I got another surprise for you. I know you talk to this dude a lot, but I wanted to talk to him because it might be the final time I get to. Clay Van Diest joining us now here on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. How are you, sir?
He's got to get ready for a hockey game. He didn't have time to talk football. Are you kidding me?
I got plenty of time to talk football. It's good to be on. Thanks for having me, Jason.
Well, it's great to have two of my three sons on today. Shane's going to feel left out.
I know. I didn't get a hold of Shane. I figured he was kind of busy.
He's going to feel left out that two of the three were
on. Your dad's going to be a little bit closer to you.
Yeah, I said, it's about the halfway mark, so now it's an easy trip for me to go home, and it gives me a good stopping point halfway instead of sleeping in my car on the side of the road. It's a good stopping point in Bismarck, and it's bunk up with him on the way home every time.
What was it like having the old man following you along your senior year?
I mean, it's hard to put into words, Jason. I think, for me, obviously, you get a little bit of a boost when the family's in the crowd, and, getting to look up and see my dad at, every rink, not just a home rink once a year, but I mean, he was up at Michigan at Finlandia. He went up to Northland. He drove out to Adrian in Michigan. He was everywhere. And it was, we went on a special run at the end of the year and won 14 straight games before getting knocked out in the national quarterfinals. And, I don't think it goes unnoticed that my dad was there for a big chunk of those 14. And that started to happen right around the time he started coming to every game. And I think that's when my game picked up for sure as well. So, it was a special moment for me and something I definitely won't ever forget.
Coach, you and I talked about this as Clay Van Diest joining us on the phone with Mike Van Diest, but going out to Lake Placid and watching the hockey out there, what was that like as a father?
Well, I grew up, I was my first year coaching at the University of Montana in 1980, so when the Miracle on Ice happened, we were all listening around the radio. It was after signing date, and we had kind of a Olympic party together, pizza and cold beer, and it was a lot of fun. And to follow those guys, and then to see the rink itself, and then, when you watch Miracle on film, I mean, that's one of the ones Shane and Clay and I probably watched 1,000 times, and I know those guys watch it even more, but it's one of those things. It's like Lambeau Field. Even if you're not a hockey fan or USA fan, go out there and just walk around that area, see the names on the wall and see the names who played there. And I know Clay and them, they got to go through the locker rooms. It's kind of more or less a museum as well. But to be out there twice was pretty impressive.
Wasn't your locker room the USA locker room, Clay?
No, so we were Finland my first year, and then the second year I was out there, my junior year, we were actually in Czechoslovakia at the time.
Oh, okay.
But it's kind of cool. The American one's a shrine, and we get to go in there every year. And two of the Team USA players came back, Pavlich and Harrington, and we got to talk to them and meet them. And they talked to Schneider as well, and got to meet them and go through that locker room. So that one's kind of in a shrine. And then we got to be in one of the other countries' locker rooms that has, again, still all the original seating, and it has all the names and lists of all the players that are out there outside the locker room. So the history there is just so special. Like I said, getting to play in it twice and be there twice for it was pretty big time.
Coach, what was more nervous, watching Clay play or watching him coach now?
Well, watching him play, he's got coaching. I mean, he's doing a great job of coaching. I always said I wish I had a little bit more of Shane and Clay in me in terms of how they're composed and handle things, and I just watched them, and they both have great minds. Shane was a great coach, and I know it's just something that he could, working with Joe Glenn for a couple of years and the high school coach, he maybe get back into high school coaching as time goes on. But no, watching them play, because, you just, things kind of go fast, but in coaching you slow it down and you get to watch them. But Heidi and I, when we watched the games, we went out to Minnesota and saw 4 of his games after New Year's, and it was fun watching him on the bench. And you don't get to see as much action as you do. It's a little bit more subdued with hockey. They just they got their suits and ties on, and they look all prim and proper. Football, we're ranting and raving up and down the sidelines and spitting and yelling, and it's a whole different game.
Clay, when you played or when you're coaching, how much of that are you sitting there going, man, I can't do this because it's hockey, and like Coach, your dad just said, we have to be prim and proper and take care. We have to be good, but how much of that Van Diest fire is inside you on a play that goes wrong?
Well, let's just say I'm sure I'm not the first Van Diest to get in trouble for yelling at the referee once or twice. So I've definitely had to learn how to tone it down a little bit. And I think, the biggest thing for me is, I for years talked to my dad and joked about, how hard it is coaching versus playing and the differences and what it's like. And man, I can tell you, I think I am way more nervous coaching than I ever was playing. It's so just a different, sensation and reality being on that bench and not being able to be on the ice and control it the same way my dad would have been, not being able to actually be on the field himself. And, so it's taken some time. I've had some growing pains with it the first couple of games of, maybe being a little too intense, scaring my girls a little bit, like my dad would have on the sidelines once or twice. But I think I'm starting to tone it in a little bit and, finding that happy medium of still remaining intense and passionate, but also a little bit more controlled, like you said, the well-mannered sport.
I haven't seen him take anybody's helmet away, so I don't know. It's anybody's hockey stick,
Yeah, don't do that, right? Or is that an option for you?
That I haven't done that yet, but if we get a few more girls next year on the team, maybe that becomes an option that I take a helmet once in a while when they don't deserve it.
There you go. I got to ask you this before I let you go, because I know you are busy, but wearing a suit and tie is so much different than what your dad wore for 20 years or 40 years, and now that 41st coming up next year.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is I wear sleeves. I don't think I've seen my dad wear sleeves his entire career, but it is different.
Wait. Before you finish that, there was one time he wore sleeves after halftime, and I called him out on it on the air, and I think it was you remember that.
It was me. It was me. I was the one that messaged you. I called you out about it on air. I remember the first time I messaged you on Twitter, Jason, and gave you a hard time about it.
But yeah, you do get to wear sleeves. It is different.
Yeah, and one, I think, we too, you watch my dad, he's got the scripted plays. Obviously, with football, there's so many plays and calls and things like that. Hockey's so much more free-flowing and adjustments throughout. Our game cards look so much different. I'm constantly writing with my pen on my game card the whole game, making notes, what I'm adjusting, adjustments within play based on personnel, things like that. So I feel like our approaches are just different based on the game, but I find more and more of myself every single day when I'm out there, thinking like my dad would, or what would my dad do here, and how can I handle this situation? And, I think I'm pretty spoiled. There's not many first-year coaches that have a Hall of Fame as their speed dial. And I call my dad after every single practice, every single game, and I get to talk to him every single day about something. If it's a recruiting question or, a girl had a tough day and I might have been too hard on her, how do I adjust to that? it's pretty life-changing for me this first year of coaching, getting to call him every day and have that, be an option for me. And, I think I've taken full advantage of it, but I wish I had taken full advantage of it more as a player back in the day growing up. But it's definitely fun getting to have that type of Hall of Fame coach, and Dad's always looking out for me when I need him from the coaching side.
So where are you guys at tonight?
So I'm off right now, but we got Adrian coming up this weekend in Michigan. So I'm just breaking down film right now at home and preparing for, we got a top 10 team. We're going into their barn and hoping to steal a game and clinch a playoff spot on Friday.
There you go.
Well, it's great to hear from you, Clay. Love you. Glad you came on.
Love you too, Dad. Hey, it's going to be fun for me. Obviously, this was a weird year for me not getting to cheer on any football for my dad. So I'm excited to find some new colors and be able to watch games on Saturday now.
Yeah, you got a whole bunch of new colors coming in with blue and orange. But appreciate you joining us. Watch that game film. Stay in touch. Don't be a stranger, my friend.
All right, will do, Jay. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, that's Clay Van Diest, the youngest of the Van Diest, joining us here on the Jason Walker Show. Sorry, Coach, I had to surprise you with a couple of your sons.
No, those are great. That makes my day for sure. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We got some more questions for Coach Van Diest about the University of Mary as he leaves Helena next week and heads on out to Bismarck, North Dakota. My dad's from North Dakota. We'll talk about that when we come back here on the Jason Walker Show. And the Jason Walker Show, by the way, is presented by Helena Accommodations, the in-town 5-star extended stay residences. And Helena Accommodations has achieved some notable milestones. They have just completed their 100th straight 5-star rating from clients, and that's awesome. They believe a Dorme Bene Sleep Well extended stay environments create a terrific referral and repeat business. Dorme Bene Sleep Well success causes Helena Accommodations almost always about to be sold out. They've actually had to turn people down. And they want you now, if you are working in real estate and have a terrific property, they need to expand, and they want you to join them. Give James Yount a call at 422-6702. Have a discussion about the Helena Accommodation business opportunities. Call James, 422-6702. Dorme Bene Sleep Well. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Everyone knows about Dinners Done Right and the convenience of the cook and carry cuisines. It's so easy to just stop by and you have something for dinner that night. But there's also one more thing you need to know about. Dinners Done Right Grab and Go Salad Bar. Yes, I said salad bar. Always the freshest ingredients, along with a daily soup and nacho bar too. So the next time you are in a rush or you just want to eat healthy, stop by Dinners Done Right for the soup, salad, and nacho bar. For monthly menus and more info, it's dinnersdoneright.com. Spring is fast approaching and summer is just around the corner, so now is the time to get those windows tinted at Auto Concepts as the sun starts to heat up. Tinting is the best way to keep the sun out of your little one's eyes driving down the road. Plus, it just looks cool. Auto Concepts is your exclusive 3M dealer for tinting, as well as the best clear bras in town. Auto Concepts clear bras will not fade or yellow over time. And don't forget about suspension lifts and power steps for your rig too. Visit AutoConceptsHelena.com or check them out on Facebook. Auto Concepts, the auto enhancement professionals. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show.
More. Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Oh, Jason Walker Show, Major Mortgage Man Cave. Speaking of Man Cave, support for the Jason Walker Show comes from Manscaped, the best in men's I feel weird reading this in front of Coach Van Diest, but it's a great sponsor. The best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. You don't have to worry about nicking or snagging, guys. The Lawnmower 2.0 proprietary skin-safe technology, and it's been redesigned, the electric trimmer. Don't use the same trimmer on your face, though, as you use everywhere else, because that's just nasty. Crop Preserver. Guys, right here, Crop Preserver. Where's the camera? There it is. You put deodorant on your armpits, or in your armpits, but put it everywhere else, too, okay? I mean, it's the smelliest part of your body. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code WALKER20 at manscaped.com. And always use the right tools for the job. Your balls will thank you. And trust me, Valentine's Day is coming up, guys. You want to look nice, and it's not 1974 anymore. Get 20% off and free shipping. Use the code WALKER20 at manscaped.com. 20% off, free shipping. Manscaped.com. Use the code WALKER20. WALKER20. All right. With that said, Coach Mike Van Diest, the NAI Hall of Famer. That's why you're a Hall of Famer, and I am not.
You would do that a lot better than I would.
It's a great product, I promise. Great supporter, that's what I mean. Anyway, Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show, heading out to the University of Mary. There's a big difference between NCAA and NAI as far as some rules, but like you said, you don't have to recruit, you don't have to worry about a lot of different things. What is the biggest change going to be?
Well, I think the biggest change when you're going in there, obviously for me as a coach, is looking at a new conference, new offenses, just a different type of things that I haven't been, 20 years in the Frontier Conference. You're playing teams twice a year, and you got the same, personnel year after year. Sometimes the coaches were around a long time, but now I'm going into new, uncharted waters for me. Minnesota Duluth has been national champs a couple times. Mankato State this year were national runners-up to West Florida. Sioux Falls made the transition extremely well, and they've done well. They've won 9 games, 10 games every year. So it's just a matter of familiarity, learning the different offenses that you have to go against, and checking out personnel. And, I think there's a lot of similarities, but at the same time, certainly back there, we're going to see some very talented players.
Yeah.
Film that I've watched already from last year, from 2019, Mankato, Duluth, Sioux Falls, Augustana, they got some talented players. So it'll be a real challenge for us on both sides of football, and I'm looking forward to it.
It is a new challenge, like you said, because you have to learn entirely new personnel. Like you said, with the Frontier, you already knew everybody. And most of the freshmen that were played against you, you knew because you recruited those guys.
Right.
This is different because you didn't recruit North Dakota a lot and Minnesota a lot.
Yeah, there's not very many names I'm going to be familiar with, to be honest with you. And then there's going to be different offenses. When you played Rocky, when Jace Petrino was there, you had a certain type of offense you go see with Ryan Norris and B.J. Robertson. You knew what they were doing offensively and defensively. You still had to go against them, but at least you had a game plan in place. And when you're watching film, a lot of the same things that you saw week in and week out.
Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show, and now I want to ask some fun questions. Well, first off, what's the plan for Mrs. Van Diest? Is she staying to finish out the year, or is she going with you?
No, she's going to be able to stay to teach at Rossiter. I'm going to be out there. I'm leaving this weekend. I'll be out there, and I'll be back at Easter time. I'll be there for a little bit of winter ball and then also spring practice. And I'll be back for a little over 3 months in the summer. Head out in the fall, and then she can continue teaching. And,
that's awesome.
The great thing is that she's got, her family still lives in Billings, so she'll be able to come out maybe on a Thursday night, take a personal day, and Friday and Saturday, and spend the weekend with us out there and see some games. So that'll be exciting, And the thing I'm looking forward is that she still gets to take care of her position here. She has a few more years before she gets retirement. And this allows her, and that's what made this attractive, because they're putting me up in an apartment on campus. They're giving me a free meal plan at the cafeteria. It's going to be like college again. It'll probably be the same as college because I don't have to go to class. So it's no different than I was in Laramie, 1970, skipping my classes, just into the cafeteria eating all day. But yeah, it's going to be good. And yeah, we'll see how it's going to work out this spring and this fall. Will be a test. But I think we talked about in the fall, there's a lot of times when I was a coaching, especially as a head coach, we'd have date night on Thursday, and then after the game on Saturday, and then mass on Sunday morning. We have spent a lot of time together, especially since she became a teacher. She's very busy with her 27, 28 third graders.
No, definitely. So Bismarck, Besides football, what else is there to do out there?
Well, it's a community. Bismarck Mandan is about 110,000 people. So they've got a lot. They got a Macy's. We don't have a Macy's anymore here, so but it's a bigger city. It's a lot like Billings. And I think when you're looking at the school's about 2,400. It's not obviously as big as Bozeman or Missoula, but there's a lot of things on campus. There's a lot of things that they do at the University of Mary that they bring in for entertainment and concerts and things like that. To me, the locker room, coach's room, film room, stadium, it's all the same. It's no different. But, it's great. And one of the things that's helped them recruiting is certainly like Helena, they have direct flights to Minneapolis and Denver, as you would expect. But they have direct flights to Vegas, L.A., Phoenix, and they have direct flights to Dallas, which I'm sure has a lot to do with the Bakken area and people coming up from Texas. But they can get out and recruit. And when you're talking about some of the differences in terms of recruiting, they can fly recruits in. They can pay for that. We can't do that at the NEI level. We couldn't do it at Carroll. So there's a lot of things they can do financially and resource-wise. They have full-time strength coaches, which we didn't have here. They have full-time equipment managers, compliance officers. So a little bit more of the support and resource staff will be very beneficial.
That's they're very cool. So you're going to be taking direct flights to Vegas to see shows.
I might go down and watch the Golden Knights. I've always been a St. Louis Blues fan since Shane moved out there, but there's a young man by the name of McLeod that's down there, and he was Clay's line mate up in juniors up in Manitoba, and or White Cloud, not McLeod, but White Cloud. And Zach Whitecloud's down there. He's been playing for the Vegas Knights. So we're thinking about maybe if they make the playoffs that we can fly down there and go see a game or two. So it'll be a lot of fun.
That would be very cool.
You bet.
Coach Weaver down at MSU, the club team, his stepson plays in Pittsburgh. What the heck is his name now? I can't remember. But he's from the Pittsburgh area, but his first shift was with Sidney Crosby, his childhood idol.
God, would that be a fun? Oh, gosh.
Man, I can't remember his name. He's supposed to be getting a jersey, but yeah, he made his debut this last fall. So
Zach Whitecloud was just because he was playing out of Chicago on their minor league team, and he was up with Clay a couple weeks ago, and then the next day he gets called up, and he's played a couple games since then. So
that's awesome.
Clay's been following him. So I said, well, when our spring football's over and they're into the playoffs, get out to Bismarck and we'll take a flight down there, and we could stay with Bishop Thomas. He's down there, so he's got a big 5-bedroom apartment or a house. So it'd be fun to go down there and see a Golden Knights game.
Yeah, I have never been to a pro hockey game.
We went to the Avalanche a couple times when we were in Laramie, and then one year when we got up here, we went up to Edmonton and watched the Oilers. We sat in the second row on the blue line.
Oh, wow.
And we had a blast. It was the King and the Edmonton Oilers, and it's just so much fun seeing the skill of these guys and the size of them.
Yeah.
You got Charo, who's 6'9" on skates, and he's got a long stick that he can reach and use it pretty good. So these guys are very talented. Skating is a great activity. It's a great skill.
What is your favorite sport to attend, not football or hockey?
Well, if I could see baseball live, I like baseball. Okay. To be at the ballpark and everything that's going on. I love to watch outfielders warm up. A couple years ago, Mark Mahoney, who played for us, he's in the Seattle Mariners organization, and one of Clay's roommates is one of the top CEO guys of the Mariners back in Wisconsin when Clay was playing hockey. But we went out there, and Joe Chard was a player here at Carroll College, and he's a vice president, so he got us tickets along the first base line, but we got to go down the field. And it was great because during warm-ups, you get to see these guys with their 5 skills, throwing, running, hitting, but they're throwing the outfielders, throwing home, or throwing the cutoff man to second and short. They're a different type of athlete. But I love watching hockey. The game of hockey is a lot of fun once you understand it and see it. Like Clay says, there's not set plays, but they do have systems. They have special teams, whether it's a power play or a penalty kill. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into that. Okay, besides Miracle, what's your favorite sports movie? Sports movie? Oh, shoots. I had one written down the other day and I forgot about it, but I think Remember the Titans and Rudy would be a tie. Rudy's not true, right? Yeah, he is, because I know Rudy. I had lunch with Rudy. He's real, but Joe Montana said that
that movie is a lot of Hollywood.
Yeah, I don't know about that,
but it is a great movie.
His brother was our assistant strength coach, Francis Rudiger, when I was at Northwestern.
Oh, wow!
And they were out of the Joliet area, and Francis and I got to be good friends. And he was also known as Rudy. But one year down in the Plainfield area, the mall, Francis Rudiger and some people down there put on a power lift meet, and I was invited down to be a judge because of my background in strength training and being a strength coach. So I went down there, and his brother Rudy came and took us all to lunch after the meet was over.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was before any of this ever took place. This was like in I don't know what year it was, maybe 78, 79, somewhere in that neighborhood.
That's awesome.
So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
Right.
that is very cool.
Yeah.
This is the stuff I never got to ask you before because it was always, business. Okay, favorite movie that's not sports related?
Oh, it'd probably be a John Wayne movie. Probably, and every John Wayne movie was one of my favorites. I love John Wayne. There were just so many great movies. But one, it's in John Wayne or John Candy movies. I mean, you go from one extreme to the other.
Very extreme.
I loved Uncle Buck. I love the great outdoors. Those are my kind of movies. Probably my favorite movie growing up as a young kid was Old Yeller.
Oh, great movie.
It was a great movie, and I remember our wrestling coach's wife, Deanna Suter, bought me that movie in Laramie. She went to a garage sale and found it, and I have that in our house up on Oak Street.
That is
Old Yeller.
movie.
might be one of my all-time favorites.
Where the Red Fern Grows?
Red Fern, yeah, it was okay. It was good.
Okay.
That's one of Heidi's favorite ones.
It was a better book.
Yeah, the book was great.
Yes.
You bet.
I had we're coming to the end of the hour. I'm bummed because I could keep talking stuff with you forever, but it's been a pleasure the last 7 years, 6.5 years, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you for everything that you did for me and my family over the course of since 2013.
No, this has been great. The friendships are built, and people don't if they've never been involved in sports, not that other careers or places take people that way, but sports just has a unique way of connecting people. And whether it's your business, whether it's administration, whether it's the fans, coaches, players, sports is a crossover from one sport to the next, and that's awesome. And your friendship and your family. I remember your wedding. It was such a great day up there. It snowed. We had to go in the tent and move everything around, driving up in the mountains. But no, there's just things that connect, and I appreciate all the times you've had us on, as you had me on, and how you treated Shane and Clay and Heidi, and your family's wonderful. And I know that they'll be a big part of Helena, East Helena, and Carroll College going with me out to Bismarck.
Well, we appreciate everything that you've done, and from helping out Bob, and that's I remember his grades weren't good.
No, we had him in study hall once a week there for a couple months.
Sitting in your office.
Sitting in the office,
not
yes.
even just in the conference room.
No, we made him come in because I didn't want him disrupting our football players.
I'm scared of what he learned in those Tuesday nights.
Well, you never know. It's like I always say, Shane and Clay's best education was Marcus Bond and Regan Mack and Jeff Van Heel in the back of bus rides coming home, and I don't want to know what they taught him back there, but they, there's just so many great memories. And you talk about what you sacrificed, but I could bring my sons to my job.
Yeah.
They were on the field. Shane was on the field at bowl games when we were at Wyoming, and Kurt Whitehead and John Burrow, two great players down there, and Tyrone Williams and Ty Hopkins. He hung out with those guys, and Clay got to do the same thing here. And then coaching Shane was one of the highlights of my life. When you talk about favorite players, where he's at the top.
Yeah, well, I would hope so.
You bet.
It's a long trip, but here's the thing: you don't have to do many bus trips now. You get to fly to games, don't you?
Oh no, there's bus trips in that conference. Oh no,
not as many though, right? Or as long?
Well, Duluth is a long ways. Mancato's a long ways. It's a long way down. Sioux Falls is about 5.5 hours. Okay. I don't know how far Wayne, Nebraska is. That's going to probably be a long ways. Yeah. So yeah, there'll be some bus trips, but I like bus trips. I don't have to drive. And they take two buses on every trip, so you get to spread out a little bit and you get to stretch out. But you can read a book, you can watch game film. There's just so much you can do. For me, it's relaxing. Bus trips are great.
Yep. I liked it too because you didn't have to worry about driving, especially in bad weather.
Yeah, no, let somebody else do that. So, yeah, there'll be, that's part of the deal. there's some things that I think at this level was NCAA 2, 3, or NAI that players play for the right reason and coaches coach for the right reason. And when you look at what's going on in the Frontier Conference with Rich Stubler going up to Northern's defensive coordinator. Rich, I just wrote him a note today because he was very good to me when I was a young coach. He was at CSU.
Okay.
And treated me well. Now Jerome Sauer's coming back to Southern Oregon. That's great to see.
There's some great coaches.
You
in
bet
the
there
Frontier.
is. You bet.
The greatest is leaving out to marry, but there is some great coaches for sure. Both assistants.
Just the oldest is leaving.
Coaches. Real quick, do you remember on this date, 1990? It was a huge upset. James Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
in the
Buster
10th round in
Douglas.
Tokyo.
Right, yeah, Tokyo. Yeah, I remember that.
That was on this date in 1990. Brought to you by the Mother Load. Let's see. There was some. The 30K cross country. You was a cross country guy?
Yeah, right.
So no. It was out at Pyeongchang. Simon Hegstead Kruger won gold, and Norway swept the 30K in cross country. So
no.
I got one more piece of music I have to run here before I can get you out.
We're almost at the end of the show.
We're going to run a little bit.
What did we learn? And what did he miss? Time for the walk-off.
The walk-off is presented by Cafe Zydeco, and it has to do with the send-off to Coach Mike Van Diest. Coach, again, we appreciate everything that you've done for this community, for myself and my family, and good luck. I know you're not going to be you're gone forever because you'll be back to watch some games in the winter and spring, and you're definitely stay in touch. We'll get you back on here.
No, it'd be great. No, appreciate it, and put a good plug in for the University of Mary Marauders once in a while. We need some fans out here, and we're right off I-94. Come and see us.
I definitely will. And I told Coach Bagnell I need to hang some jersey up in here. So when you get out there, get some blue and orange hanging up in the studio. Coach, thank you for coming.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it.
And that'll do it for today. The Jason Walker Show, presented by Helen Accommodations. We wish the best to Coach Mike Van Diest as he exits out to Bismarck. Go east, young man. Go east. We'll be back tomorrow. Jason Walker Show. Thanks for joining us.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.